This summer, Fresno County Sheriff Margaret Mims implemented a new program designed to help the federal government to deport illegal immigrants who have violent criminal records.
In an unprecedented move, she is allowing Immigration and Custom Enforcement agents, or ICE, access to the Fresno County Jail. The timing of her program has captured national attention because of a recent murder of Kate Steinle in San Francisco. She was killed allegedly by an illegal immigrant with a long criminal history, the very type of criminal that the Fresno County program is designed to help screen out and deport. We have reaction tonight from the Steinle family and others on the sheriff's new program.
Did you shoot Kate Steinle, the lady who was down on Pier 14?
Yes.
Shortly after his arrest, 56-year-old undocumented immigrant Juan Lopez Sanchez, a 7-time convicted drug felon who's been deported 5 times, admits to shooting Kate Steinle on Pier 14 in San Francisco. Tragically, just 2.5 months earlier, he was released from the San Francisco jail on a dismissed felony marijuana charge. In accordance with the city's Safe City policy, he was set free without notifying immigration officials, who in all likelihood would have deported him again. This makeshift memorial on Pier 14 is dedicated to the memory of Kate Steinle. She was fatally shot and killed here on July the 1st. It's a long way from Fresno County, but in a way, it's at the heart of a new spirit of cooperation between Fresno County and ICE. Their goal is simple: deport dangerous criminals.
On June 22nd, the Fresno County Sheriff's Office partnered with Homeland Security ICE in a pilot program.
At a press conference this summer, Sheriff Margaret Mims announced that, unlike San Francisco, Fresno County is now fully cooperating with ICE to legally identify criminals like Lopez Sanchez for possible deportation.
We truly want to avoid any kind of incident like happened in San Francisco.
Since Sheriff Margaret Mims started allowing ICE agents access to the Fresno County Jail, over 120 undocumented immigrants with violent criminal records have been deported from Fresno County. The sheriff says it's a public safety issue, not an immigration issue.
We are cooperating with ICE to keep our communities safe.
The new program streamlines communication with ICE, targeting only serious criminals.
I wake up every morning. It's the first thing you think about. And how did this happen to Kate? We are hurt. And it's a daily struggle.
We traveled to San Francisco. I asked Brad Steinle, Kate's brother, what he thinks about the new program that Sheriff Mims has implemented.
I commend the sheriff of Fresno. She's done a fantastic job.
He also can't help but wonder if Fresno County's policies had been in place in San Francisco, if his sister would still be alive today.
He wouldn't have been on the pier to shoot Kate.
Some would argue that Kate Steinle's death and Fresno County's new cooperation with ICE are symptoms of a much bigger problem. Consider this. Since January 2014, over 10,000 undocumented immigrants have been released from custody in California without immigration officials being notified. Part of the reason for that is AB 4, also known as the Trust Act. It took effect on January the 1st, 2014. It limits the power of law enforcement agencies from detaining or holding criminal undocumented immigrants for deportation. The new law also means misdemeanor offenses like traffic tickets, a DUI, or driving without a license, and even some domestic violence allegations won't get you arrested or deported.
Just simply is not occurring.
Kern County Sheriff Donnie Youngblood likes what Fresno County is doing and will soon have ICE agents in his jail too.
We think if it works there, it's probably going to work here.
Sheriff Youngblood says it's about closing the communication gap with ICE on violent criminals.
We provide them with information and they can do their job.
And he's not alone. Los Angeles County Sheriff Jim McDonnell recently announced that he, too, like Fresno County, will allow ICE agents into his jail on a limited basis to screen for violent criminals who are in the country illegally. To various degrees, some law enforcement officials in Riverside, Orange, Butte, Alameda, Contra Costa, San Mateo, San Diego, San Bernardino, and Marin counties are now cooperating with ICE. Under a new Department of Homeland Security Priority Enforcement Program, or PEP, they are now notifying ICE when an individual who is a danger to public safety is about to be released from custody. In compliance with the Trust Act, they won't hold the suspects for ICE, but they'll notify ICE.
What do we want?
ICE out of Fresno!
But the sheriff's new program has its critics, including the ACLU.
Counties like Fresno should not engage in immigration enforcement.
Outspoken critics of the sheriff's program have held several rallies in front of her office, claiming, among other things, that low-level offenders are being locked up and deported. Not so, says Sheriff Mims.
Nobody gets booked into the Fresno County Jail just for committing a traffic infraction. That doesn't happen. We are predominantly an all-felony jail.
So who is ICE deporting from the Fresno County Jail? A few examples. 41-year-old Jose Nava, a Mexican national, was taken into ICE custody for a conviction of assault with a deadly weapon and possession of a firearm by a felon and illegal re-entry into the U.S. He's already been deported 5 times. 40-year-old Luis Alonso, a Mexican national, was taken into ICE custody for conviction of sexual battery and illegal entry into the U.S. He's already been deported 3 times. And 30-year-old Jesus Padilla, a Mexican national, was taken into ICE custody for conviction of possession of narcotics for sale. He's already been deported 3 times. Others were flagged for being in street gangs, selling drugs, assault, burglary, or carrying a loaded firearm. All of the crimes committed while in the country illegally. One inmate, a 31-year-old Mexican national, has been removed from the U.S. 19 times. But not everyone targeted by ICE is a Priority 1 offender under PEP. Some are Priority 2 offenders, meaning they've had at least 3 separate serious misdemeanor charges like burglary, domestic violence, or possession or use of a firearm, or sexual abuse, to which Sheriff Youngblood says,
it could be 3 victims before we get to a point where we can deport you. That's absurd.
Sheriffs Mims and Youngblood say their law and order approach has nothing to do with hardworking, law-abiding people who are in the country illegally. It has everything to do with public safety.
If you're here illegally and you commit crimes, we want you out of the country. I don't want you in my county.
You have to do what's right, and that's the right thing to do.
The Steinle family supports what Sheriff Margaret Mims is doing and is now pushing for a federal law that would require mandatory prison sentences for suspects like Lopez Sanchez. In the meantime, the family is also holding out fundraising efforts for local charities for their daughter. Their daughter, Kate, supported a lot of charities, and they've set up a GoFundMe account. We have linked that account to our website. Just go to yourcentralvalley.com.